Greetings. Hope you're all really well. Let me know what the levels are like and how this looks. It is saying that I have got a little issue with my connection. So, let me know if you've got an issue with my connection. I hope you're all really well. And welcome to this Sunday live show. We've got a lot of folks in. Lovely to see you all. Let me quickly pop through and see who we've got. We've got Terry Tickler. Hey, we got Dale Palmer, the great Vanzini. He's in. Jack Collins. Hey, from Louisiana. Trevor Locke. Good evening. We have got somebody called CGS. We got Johnny from the Budget Guitar Show. Good to see you as well, mate. We've got the Big G. Good to see you as well, man. And Gil Lamb. Quentin. Cheers, bro, on the alcohol free still. Cheers to you. We have also got, let me see, Dennis Pointer. Good to see you. Phil Sequira. I'll get this right one of these days, definitely. CJ, you're in the show tonight, brother. We have also got Brad Guitar Miller. Hey, bro, good to see you as well. And Adam D, Ole Hansen, John Pittman, James Mears, I see there as well, sneaking in. And Jake Lee Guitar, Alan Jackman as well. I've dived down to the bottom there. Currently got, and Sean Hockey. Good to see you. Richard Green. All good vibes. Excellent. So hopefully this sounds okay. He's Great Vanzini says, sound is good. Picture looks good. Awesome. We're on for a good show tonight. So what have I got coming up? And why am I flying without a net? Well, the reason I'm flying without a net is because I've got a subject to cover tonight that I asked my good buddy Lewis Trower to come in and have a chat with me about. But he may not make it in tonight. And so we may just end up going through that together. In fact, I think it's most likely because he is likely not to be back in time. He did say that. So there we go. If I sound funny, and I think I've worked out what my speech slurring is, I got a lump on the side of my tongue. And that's what's causing me this issue, I think. I had a load of blood tests done on Tuesday. They came back on Friday and they didn't say anything was urgent to go and see them. And so I'm going to assume that it's this funny shape on my tongue. So excuse me if I sound like I'm lisping or slurring a bit tonight. That's what I think it is. My tongue has felt unusually large in my mouth for a while. So I'll get that seen to when I go and see the doctor this coming Tuesday. So fingers crossed, all will be well, but I will be sure to let you know. Now, before we get started tonight, I'm going to let you know what else we've got coming up. So we will be doing that subject at some point, whenever that suits. We've also got some viewers' guitars tonight, which is great. And I also want to give a big shout out to Strings Direct, who have sent me a couple of packets of, let me put those a bit closer, legacy strings. Now, these are incredibly reasonably priced. Over and show you this, because this can be our first little bit that we go into. So, yeah, looking at these, they're like $3.99 each. Now, what I asked for and what I generally use are these, the 9 to 46s. And I was looking through earlier at some of the reviews and I was absolutely gobsmacked. Let me go and see if I can find this, because you'll laugh as much as I did. There's some great reviews on them, but look who's reviewed it back in December the 10th, 2014. My buddy Dave Barlow. He says, I bust strings like crazy. Yep, tried them all. Doesn't matter how much I pay. I usually get 1 gig and 4-hour rehearsal out of a set until the strings start breaking. These strings are as good as any other I've tried. Nice and bright and stay in tune all night. So why pay more? some great reviews about these strings as well, and I'll also be putting a link in the description down below shortly once we get into our main topic of this evening. So yeah, really impressed to see that Dave Barlow's been using them as far back as 8 years ago, nearly. 7 or 8 years ago. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, I'm going to try these out on the J and D guitar because that is due a setup video really soon. I may also stick them on my PRS SE because that does need a change of strings again. So I don't know if anybody's used these in the UK, but I'm really, really impressed. As I say, they are $3.99 a pack, which I think is a really, really reasonable price. And yeah, they seem to be a decent set of strings from looking at all the reviews. So thought I'd mention that and say a big thank you to Paul from Strings Direct. And as I say, I'll put a link up for that later because he's been kind enough to send me those. So there we go. Got that bit done. And Sandra, I see you're in. Great to see you. We missed you last week. Or was it Tuesday I missed you? And hey, Ray Pryke is in. He's never thought about them. Well, there you go. And I'm pretty sure that they ship wherever. So a nice set of, and I think they're British strings. In fact, yeah, look, there you go. You got a Union Jack on the back. So well worth checking out, definitely. So that's my first little bit of fun this evening. And I want to get into your viewers' guitars in just a moment. If you've got any questions for me tonight, I don't see the CGS so well on StreamYard. And the reason I'm using StreamYard, and that's another reason I'm live without a net tonight, is because I have lent my ATEM to a friend who's doing some recording of I think it's a pantomime or something. And hey, Music Therapy Laz and Blackjack Guitar, good to see you. And Sean Zimmerman and the band Mozzie's in, good to see you. Excellent, love it. So yeah, sorry I missed your show tonight, MTL. I was getting ready for this, and I'm not an expert on StreamYard, so yeah, this. Oh, there we go. This little thing gives me some trouble sometimes, so I've been trying to get this all sorted out. So I missed your show tonight. I'm really sorry about that. So what was I saying? We are going to do something else as well, because earlier on, and I'm trying to remember who it was that told me. I think it was Trevor, and he asked me if I had ever heard of ERT guitars. And the answer to that question was no. So what I've done is I've popped on and I've gone to their website, and we can have a little look at these. Looking at these, some of these headless ones, for example, are on, I think it was Amazon, at around 306 or 309 pounds. So, yeah, just having a quick look at these. I haven't seen them before. They look like some interesting guitars. They've got some decent stuff, some standard telly style there. That looks a bit like the Sir headstock, doesn't it? And obviously classic Strats, classic 335s. And then they've got these slightly more offset shapes. And of course, the headless, which looks an awful lot like the Brain's Gone. Oh, come on. Strandberg. There we go. Strandberg guitars. Wow. Yes, Brain has definitely needed to be engaged a little bit more tonight. So, yeah, I don't know if you've seen these before, but they look like very good value. I haven't been able to find out where they're made yet. It looks like there's a few YouTube videos on them. But I thought I'd cover that because I think it was... Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Trevor that said. So let's have a quick look. Why not have a quick look at the telly style? Because you know what I'm like with tellies. There we go. Oh, there we go. $289. Let's have a little look at that. That looks really quite nice. So looking at this, they've got maple fingerboard, stainless steel frets. Wow. And tiger veneer. So it's got a tiger wood type, well, a tiger wood grain type veneer. So it's got a mahogany body, Canadian hard maple neck, a 5A wood monolithic tiger pattern leather. Now, I'm not sure if it does say a veneer, doesn't it, somewhere? Where did it say veneer? There we go. Tiger veneer. It's got Wilkinson's retro pull plate. We don't need to worry about the strings because they get changed quite a bit, but stainless steel frets. How about that for that sort of money? $289 there for that kind of spec is pretty amazing. Somebody saying in the chat there, I think that John Robson showed these. Is that right? I've used the legacy strings. Oh, right. It's Dave Lewis telling me he's used the legacy strings since John. And in fact, Dave, it was you that recommended them to me, and you were the reason that I reached out to Strings Direct. So yeah, look at this though. Really, really nice looking guitars for not a lot of money. Let's see. There's the range of colors. Quite like that pink one actually. That shouldn't really float my boat, but it really does. And 5A wood monolithic tiger text paste. That doesn't sound like a veneer, does it? I don't know. That actually looks like a roasted maple neck as well. At that sort of price, that is crazy. The back doesn't look far from roasted either, does it? So there we go. If you haven't heard of Guitar Dream, there we go. Sorry about that. If I went a little bit blank there, that was because I just managed to take myself out the stream. As I say, I'm not the greatest expert on using StreamYard. So, okay, guys, what I'd like to do tonight, I've got a topic that I'd like to talk about, and I was inviting Lewis on, but if anybody else is an expert, and I mean an expert on Swamp Ash and what's going on with the Swamp Ash situation, I've got a really, really interesting article to read you in a bit. But if you are, then an expert that is, then pop your email address in the hey Ben, hey Tony Smith, good to see you guys, and Richard Paul as well, good to see you. Excellent, great. So if any of you are experts and would like to chat to me about Swamp Ash and the Paulina as well, the replacement, let me know and stick your email address in the comment section, and you're most welcome to come and join me. As I say, that's why we're flying without a net tonight. I'm quite happy to be diving into this story and look through it with you. I'm going to read the story to you, and but if Lewis makes it in, he knows an awful lot about it, but he only found out about, I suppose, 1 o'clock this afternoon, about 5 hours ago, that I'd invited him in. There's nothing like a bit of late notice, is there? But before we dive into that, I'm going to first start off, and I have to share this in a different way. I'm going to have to do it on the Windows Media Player, because this wouldn't... CGS is Paulina. Paulovnia. Okay. Right. Okay. Thanks, Rax Effects. If you know lots about it, pop your email address in and I'll send you a link to come in and chat about it. Okay. So yeah, I want to do viewers guitars. And so I'm going to do that using Windows Media Player because it wouldn't seem to load. So here we go. Let's do viewers guitars tonight. Here we go. The price, £500. It's unbelievable. You can see it's got the standard headstock decal and the standard stock serial number and made in USA on the back. And it looks like quite a nice guitar. It's being sold in Liverpool, but £500? That's over double what it would cost to buy brand new from China if you were in the market for a fake, which I'm sure none of you are. So please, please watch out for these con artists charging twice as much for a fake as you can buy them for direct from China. Really, these people should know better, but clearly they don't. Okay, next up we've got Chris, the lovely CJ tonight, and he has sent me this picture, or these several pictures of this absolutely stunning, really gorgeous Edwards style Les Paul, and it's this beautiful emerald green colour. He says, look at this beauty. This is the Edwards one I was telling you about a few Sundays ago. The quilt top is stunning. Let's just say the front is way better than the back, but then only us really see the back and everyone else sees the front anyway. The Seymour Duncans, he said, sound absolutely fantastic, and this guitar has got real mojo. It's a Japanese beauty. He had a tough week and he had problems with his car and issues with the house, but this guitar cheered him up no end, and I'm not at all surprised. That really lovely emerald green colour is really gorgeous. And finally he sent us a picture of him playing it, which is great. Thank you so much for sharing this beautiful Edwards guitar with us tonight, Chris. And we finish up tonight with an amp head, actually, rather than the guitar, from our regular Stu. He says, I wasn't prepared for this little Sub-Zero head amp to be so loud. The feedback I get through the Harley Benton 2x12 with Vinci's 30 Celestians is absolutely awesome. Add to that, the sustain can last for ages, and it's a winning combination. He hasn't tried any pedals with it yet, but he seems to be really, really impressed. So anyone else tried these Sub-Zero amps? I certainly haven't yet. I've got a picture of the back as well, which is all very simple and straightforward. But thanks so much to Stu for sending this in this week, and also to Andrew and Chris again for showing us their guitars this week. So there we go. And a big thank you to Grumpy Mike. Thanks for that, brother. Really appreciate that. I think I've got a thank you so much for your kind tip. There we go. Thank you, brother. Always appreciated, never courted. Very, very much appreciated. And sorry about the lack of audio at the start of that, guys. I do realize that actually I need to put my mic on because you're hearing it out of the speakers here. That's just the way this cookie crumbles, I'm afraid, with StreamYard. As I say, I have lent out my ATEM tonight, so I don't have the ATEM with me. Okay, so the big issue tonight that I'd like to cover, and it looks like you're talking about it already in the chat. So I'm going to go over and show you this. In fact, what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to give you the links to the article that I'd like to go over, which was in the Insider. So let me first of all pop over to here. So we were talking in the video on Friday about how the woods are being, and hardwoods are being really harvested into non-existence, and also there is a problem with this little tiny green bug. So this is an article in the Insider, and you can find that in businessinsider.com, and it says a tiny invasive bug and the climate crisis is changing how guitars are made and shifting the course of music history. So here we can see swamp ash is a wood prized by guitar makers and musicians. Its lightweight and resonant sound. By flooding, and the tiny bug threatened the wood and the sound that is synonymous with rock music. And also a little bit on Fender phasing out ash after 70 years. And there's a potential that ash trees could disappear altogether soon. So What we got here in 1970, when Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin recorded the iconic Solo on Stairway to Heaven, he was playing a 59 Fender Tele. That's exactly right, of course. Hello to Walid as well, by the way, and James Pavia. Good to see you. The guitar was gifted to Page in 66 by the guitar legend Jeff Beck, who used it himself in the later years of the Yardbirds. Page repainted the guitar, adding an elaborate design of red, green, orange, and blue on the body that vaguely resembled a dragon, giving the instrument its name. The body of Page's renowned Dragon Telecaster was made of ash wood, a longtime favorite for many of rock's biggest names. Keith Richards, Bruce Springsteen, Buddy Guy, Jerry Garcia, Nile Rodgers, and countless other rock legends have played on ash guitars through the decades. Justin Norval, the executive vice president of Fender Products, told Insider, now the trees that ash is harvested from are on the decline and could soon disappear. A small invasive bug and excessive flooding are threatening the wood, and by extension, the sound that epitomizes rock and roll, serving as yet another reminder of the climate crisis and its wide-ranging impact. It's really heartbreaking, Norval said. One of the main woods we rely on. The shortage of ash prompted Fender to phase out its use after a 70-year run. It's amazing, isn't it? The wood is now only available to customers willing to pay a premium. Say no more. And here we've got a picture of a new Strat and also a body, by the look of it, an ash body. So ash helped make Fender the Henry Ford of electric guitars. So here I am, as I said, flying live without a net tonight, doing this actual piece to you live as well. Fender has used ash for many years, Norval told Insider. It goes back to the company's origins in the late 40s. Leo Fender used ash in the early 1950s in some of Fender's first Telecasters and Stratocasters, guitar models that remain among the most beloved electric guitars. At the time, Fender went with ash for two reasons. It was cheap and available. Can you see where I'm heading with this, guys? I think you probably can see where I'm heading. Okay. He said, but also happened to have a nice sound, which together with the low cost helped Fender become the Henry Ford of electric guitars. According to Craig Snyder, professional guitar player, collector, and high-end instrument dealer, in the early days of rock and roll, Fender mass-produced guitars and sold them at affordable prices. The use of ash persisted, enjoying decades-long run of 1 and 2 primary bodywoods Fender used for its electric guitars. And it's not just Fender. Snyder, who's played professionally with legends like Elton John and Roberta Flack, said Fender set a platform for guitar design that countless other builders still follow. Fender really made ash a bedrock of guitar making. Fender-style guitars, even when not made by their namesake manufacturer, among the most popular electric guitars still in use. There are dozens of species of ash trees native to North America, but the most popular for guitars is green ash. I'm not going to try and say that, Fraxinus pennsylvanica, I think. It grows across much of the United States and Canada, from Nova Scotia down to Florida and as far west as Alberta and eastern Texas. But the green ash, most prized for electric guitars, grows in the south in the bottomlands of the Mississippi River. We like a lightweight ash called punky ash or swamp ash, Norval said. It's a wood that is submerged for part of the year in swamps. When the floods recede, we go in and you can harvest the ash. So as a result of growing in standing water, swamp ash is light and soft. Hey, light and soft for guitar bodies, light and soft. I think you can see where I'm going with this. The true swamp ash is real ringy, said Stephen Marchoni, who has been making high-end guitars for some of the world's best players for more than 30 years. He said, in addition to its sound, swamp ash lightweight, especially desirable, adding it can knock off nearly 5 pounds from a guitar. It might sound like a big difference, but when it's strapped around your neck for 2 hours, it's a lot, he said. It has beautiful striking grain patterns, so it's often used in guitars with a natural transparent finish. And there we have an ash tree being injected with insecticide to prevent this emerald ash borer infestation. This is at the Sunset golf course in Longmont, Colorado. So, a climate crisis and a tiny shiny pest, a little green pest, which this whole video is all about. So, in recent years, the floods in the Mississippi Delta have been receding less frequently, limiting the swamp ash that can be harvested and disrupting Fender's ability to get it. Mike Bourne, the former director of the wood technology at Fender, looks at the water levels in the Mississippi River every day. He currently works as a wood consultant and salesperson for Anderson Tully, the lumber giant that supplies most of the swamp ash used in guitars, including to Fender. Bourne said the high water levels are driven by snowmelt and heavy rains, and not just over the Mississippi, but from all the rivers that feed into it as well, like the Arkansas, Illinois, and Missouri. Scientists say extreme precipitation is one of the impacts of the climate crisis. Okay, you definitely know where I'm going with this. In 2019, the Mississippi River experienced one of its worst ever flooding events due to high frequency rains and heavy rains. That was the second wettest year on record for the US, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. The unpredictable flooding and receding has created a feast or famine effect. Some years ago, swamp ash couldn't be harvested at all. In years when it can, makers like Fender stock up on as much as they can get, but that cycle, Norval suggests, appears to be ending. He offered his assessment of the latest healthy supply of swamp ash, calling it one of the final feasts of having a bounty of ashwood. There's another factor compounding the problem: this shiny little green beetle about the size of a grain of rice. Native to East Asia, the emerald ash borer was first detected in the US in 2002 and has since decimated ash trees, killing tens of millions across the country. The invasive bug likely arrived in the US on shipping pallets from, you guessed it, from China. What a surprise. But early efforts to contain it were unsuccessful. Infestations were discovered in 35 states, and scientists say the most destructive pest ever to plague America's forests. After the emerald ash borer lays its eggs on the bark of an ash tree, larvae bore into the tree and feed on its tissues, disrupting the movement of water and nutrients in the tree and leaving a squidgy trail in its wake. It ultimately kills the tree, and the trails left behind make the wood harder for guitar makers to work with because they have to cut around the markings. While the flooding is causing the most recent swamp ash shortage, ash trees could soon disappear altogether because of the beetle. It's a mass extinction event, Bourne said, adding that without intervention, ash trees could be extinct in North America within a decade. With that, combined with the flooding in the last couple of years, we just got to a point where, in good conscience, we couldn't maintain a stable supply of healthy quantities of ash, Fender's Norval said. In April 2020, after several decades of making ash body guitars, Fender announced it would phase out the wood, reserving it only for premium and historical models. Norval said it was an unbelievably hard decision for the company. There's an element to this that's the end of an era, he said. Boutique guitar makers are still able to get swamp ash in the quantities they need, so professional musicians and gearheads who are set on swamp ash can find it, at least for now. But its status as a go-to everyday wood is quickly changing. Fighting to preserve ash trees while looking for alternatives. Now, this is a key part of the message that I was putting out the other day. And I hope you guys don't mind me indulging in this, but I think it's a really, really important matter. And I was really absolutely over the moon with the response I got to my Friday video. And I hope that you're finding this interesting as well. So, going back to this, it's Roots of Rock, a collaborative initiative between the US Forest Service, Fender, and the non-profit American Forests, is working to save America's ash trees from the emerald ash borer. Researchers have identified lingering ash trees that survived infestations after all other ash trees had died. We're taking survivors that had natural resistance and breeding them with others to produce green ash species with resistance, said Bourne, who helped start the project when he was at Fender. Plans are underway to plant the first of these trees in Detroit, near where the beetle was first detected in the US. Even if successful, the project will ultimately take decades. But Bourne said it's the first step. At least they're going to save ash genetically, and they didn't have to hybridize, he said. This is pure American green ash. Meanwhile, guitar makers are working hard to find a suitable replacement for swamp ash. Roger Sadowski, a renowned instrument maker, has been building electric guitars for legendary musicians since 1979, when he first started researching. All the best musicians he had consulted had Fenders from the late 50s and early 60s that were lightweight, which meant they were likely made of swamp ash. Sadowski said the last few months of 2020, he was calling every wood guy he knew to find ash. More recently, when it was available, he was stockpiling it to get through the next drought. But to compensate for the shortages, he's been running listening tests to find a replacement. He has tested 8 guitar bodies made of alternative lightweight woods. Ash is still the best sounding to my ears, he said. What we're trying to do is find the runner-ups and alternatives to swamp ash. A leading contender so far is eastern white pine, another tree native to North America that primarily grows in the Northeast and around the Great Lakes. Sadowski said the white pine is best after it's been torrefied, a roasting process that emulates decades of natural aging. And then we've got a telly body being sanded. That's an ash body. A new sound. Fender has also employed a torrefication process with pine as a replacement for ash. Norval said it's been very well received, though there's a wistfulness and nostalgia for swamp ash. According to the guitar maker Marcioni, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, musicians are extremely conservative when it comes to their instruments, and we all know that. People are still trying to create what guitarists like Eric Clapton and Jimi Hendrix did, Norval said. Those guys had plenty of swamp ash. But Bourne said the deep love for the stored wood could in some ways be a chicken and egg scenario rather than there being an inherent magic in the wood. I think it's more that rock and roll grew up with that as being the sound, so the wood became the tone that people like to hear. He said it could have been something else, and that wood might have had the same myth to it. Regardless of the reasons, swamp ash is woven into Fender's DNA and the history of electric guitars in general. But Norval said now it's about finding the next generation of wood. That was a long read for you, but I really, really hope that you understand and know where I'm coming from. I think the thing with all of these woods at the moment is that we are struggling to keep on using the same woods. And did I just see that my buddy Sean Daniels in? And I've been, there he is. Look at that. Hey, bro, good to see you. Really good to see you. And also Nico33. Good to see you as well, man. So we got some nice what would I call my favorite YouTubers in tonight. Not only Sean Daniel, I think I also saw Brad in earlier as well, but I was reading at the time. If you are in as well, a very warm welcome to you. So what I'm really looking for is to see what you guys feel about this whole wood issue. Are we getting to the stage now? And I know that Sean will definitely be up for this. In fact, Sean, if you want in, I can send you a link, brother, if you would like to talk about this topic. I haven't seen anybody else giving me an email address to let me know that. Yeti Matsi Nightcat as well. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, so we're talking about bugs. We're talking about this little green bug that is literally killing our guitars. Let me see if I can go back and find you the picture. There we go. There is the little green bug right here. And that is called the emerald ash borer. And that is causing pretty much the decimation of ash trees in North America. And that's what Fender make their guitar bodies out of in the main. So we're in a problem situation, aren't we? And this can't sort of carry on forever. And I was talking about, I'm going to call it Paulina, although I didn't pronounce it right. There are so many alternatives, but we are very snobby about the sort of wood that our guitars are made from. And I really love that last bit in the article, which said that the reason that we love the tone of ash is because that was what was cheap and available back in the 50s and late 40s when Fender were making their guitars. And of course, people like Clapton and Hendrix were using those woods in their guitars. And so that's the kind of tone that we've tuned our ears to. But surely we can find other woods, and definitely lighter woods that will be just as good to sounding. So let's see what you've got to say about it, guys. Yeah, James Mears rightly saying there's ash dieback in the UK too. And Yetimatsu Nightcat's really happy to be having his little Hagstrom as well. So that's ash as well. The oak tree caterpillar is dangerous as hell in the UK, Dave Lewis is saying. Tony Smith, Mike, cherrywood timber is underused in guitar making, in my opinion. Well, there you go. Sean says, what's really interesting to me is that for electrics, I really can never tell a huge difference. Like, yes, of course, there's a difference, but not a huge one. In fact, we did it in one of my videos recently, Sean, and that was that we had a vote, and it came out that the wood of a guitar is only 9% of the tone. So, yeah, definitely something for us to consider going forward. He's saying, but I've played some carbon fiber stuff and it sounds fine to me. And in the middle of that, my buddy Johnny gave me his last $5. Well, bless you, brother. Never courted, but always appreciated. And I'm going to open another alcohol-free beer. I'm going to put the other bottle in the bin, and I'm going to drink to your health. He says, Seriously, thanks for your support and informative videos and streams. Mate, you are most welcome. And I need this because I'm really hot, having sat out in the sun today and then reading that whole article. So cheers, Johnny. Nice beer. Very nice beer. Thank you very much indeed for your super chat. So, yeah, really like the thought of coming up with different stuff. So sure, yeah, having played some carbon fiber stuff, even on acoustics. I noticed you had that travel acoustic. Is it it's something man guitars? I can't remember what they are, but they've got that sound hole that's like an oblong, a rounded oblong shape in them, and they were carbon fiber. That travel guitar, wasn't it? So yeah, and does it sound that bad? Not at all. Grumpy Mike says he's got a telly made from pine. Sounds great and he loves it. Now, a lot of tellies are now made from pine. So pine is a fast growing deciduous evergreen wood, and it dries out very quickly because its fibers are quite wide apart. So, and it's also really lightweight. So why not build guitars out of stuff? Ray Pike says he has 2 guitars with bass bodies, light and resonant. Now, the funniest thing is some of my most resonating guitars are real cheap Telecasters with, I have no idea what bodies they've got on them. But yeah, Sean saying, I agree. Sean, that's where, so Sean SHAWN agreeing with Sean SEAN. Let's just call him the handsome man, shall we? That's where it's going. Ash dieback is expected to have polished off 80% of the British Isles ash within a decade, XMG12 is saying. So let me see what else is. CGS, the original tellies were made of pine. Thank you, Paul King. Yo, Aaron, good to see you, brother. Alexis Guitar says, I wonder whether people will turn to softwoods hardened with epoxy in future. Well, there is also the process that we were talking about in that article called torrefication, which dries them out and also hardens the woods. So we can torrefy softwoods. Tony Smith, CGS, Mike, Are we always talking about solid woods here, or are there occasions when laminates are better? Well, now, when it comes to laminates, I think if you get any old piece of wood that's strong enough to be an electric guitar body, and then you put a really, really nice laminate of, say, a burley or a curly wood or a quilted maple on top, who's to know? Who's to know that isn't a cap on top of on top of uh, uh, well, maple cap on top of mahogany. I'll get there in the end. I tell you, my brain's definitely working slow tonight. Nicholas Calding, hey mate, good to see you. He says, how do we make sure our new guitars don't contribute to kill those rare tree species? Very, very simply, see what you're buying. The other thing that somebody said on the video the other day is it's great to buy secondhand guitars. So I don't want to kill the new industry, especially not as a demoer and reviewer of new gear. But when it comes to saving the planet and the environment, I'm afraid that has to come first, guys. So I'm not going to suggest anything other than going out and looking for nice secondhand guitars as well. Bam Mossy says, just like I want solid wood furniture and not plastic, carbon fiber or chipboard, I want my guitars to be made of wood too. Yeah, but it's all very well and good so long as there's still some wood out there. What are we going to do when it goes? Turn everything into plastic? You know, I'm a bit worried about that. James Mears has seen sycamore used on some nice guitars. Excellent. Brad Miller, CGS, my local guitar makers are using cypress or cypress for the body and hickory for the necks. Florida Rose with fretboards, some great sounding guitars. Only problem with cypress is weight is not consistent. Yeah, that is a problem. Yeah. Journey, that's the one. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, Journey Instruments, carbon fiber guitar. Now, that's an acoustic. And usually the soundboards of acoustic, if they're not made of Sitka spruce or a Koa or any of the tone woods that the big manufacturers use, people worry about it. But that Journey guitar, that carbon fiber guitar that Sean's got, I love the tone of that. It sounds great. So why not use it more? Keith H says, we also have, where is that? Sorry, I've just lost that. We also have pine beetles here in Northwest. They kill one tree and move on to the next to it. That's another reason the fire seasons are so bad. Right. Okay. Yep. Sycamore is just British maple. You're absolutely right. Tall thing, Kev. That was something that Lewis told me the other day. Sean Hockey says, I just read alcohol works wonders for a swollen tongue. Just kidding, my brother. I've been off it for a week because I had my jab on Tuesday evening, and I thought I'm going to have a few days off before and a few days off after. And I'm not sure how long that few days after is going to last, because at the minute I'm loving this alcohol-free stuff. I have to say, I'm looking rather warm and I'm feeling rather warm. It's been a beautiful, beautiful sunny day here, and I've been sitting out drinking alcohol-free beers. So there you go. Yosemite Yeti Matsi Nightcat, sorry. I would like to print out my own guitar with the 3D printer. Love it. Excellent. Guitars are not a major issue with the consumption of wood. No, you're right. They're not the biggest industry. In fact, the furniture industry. And also, I've got a story, and that was another reason. I'm just going to have a quick look. No, Lewis isn't back yet, because Lewis has got a great story about a perfume manufacturer that I'm hoping we can share. And you will be amazed and astounded that a perfume manufacturer could cause such deforestation. But we'll talk about that on a future stream. I'm not going to do this all the time, guys, but I think it's an area that's worth bringing forward. Now, the point I would like to go back to with Bam Mozzie is that guitars aren't a major consumer of wood, but it's something that we as a community have a control over. And everybody tends to go, oh, look at that industry, or look at that industry, or look at what he's doing over there, rather than tackling our own backyard. And if we all make a change and start looking for more sustainable woods for guitars, and we do the same when we go out looking for furniture, and we we have to make a change ourselves to propagate a big change in society. It's no good saying they're worse than us so we can justify carrying on with it. We've got to make a change, man. That's the way I feel about it anyway. Keith H says, white pine is heavily worked wood. Drop a board on the ground, you need a hook to pick it up, right? Torrefication has its pros and cons too. A bit of a cloudy day. Sorry to hear that, music therapy, Laz. Bam Mozzie can't see it happening. There's no wood on this planet. There's a much bigger problem than guitars. I'll go back to my previous argument. Hugh Caldwell, good to see you. Listen to your little track that you put in for that ladies channel earlier. Sorry I didn't comment. I was literally rushing through, but I checked out your video and then I checked out her channel. What a cool lady. Tony Smith, CGS, Mike, Martin have a preparatory process where they make an artificial wood called Richlight for some of their fretboards. Richlight I mentioned on Friday's video, and it's also being used by Gibson as well. And it's why not? Why not? Kim's Workshop, I think this home comes from your fingers. We know that because 67% of you said that. Let's have a look. CGS, I had my second jab yesterday. Good. Second jab. I had my first one, mate. Let me dive down. I'm trying to look for at CGS's. Right. Okay. Yeah. Fine. CGS. Cheers, Mike. Well, that's a pleasure. Great Vanzini. Hugh Caldwell is doing some really great stuff. I agree with you, Great Vanzini. Better than some IKEA chipboard thing that falls to pieces. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Sean. He's got to run. Great to see you. Thanks for dropping in on my stream tonight. Really, really appreciate it, brother. That was very, very kind of you. And I hope that you enjoyed the subject matter. I'll catch up with you soon, you handsome man. Hugh Caldwell says thank you to Great Vanzini. And James Mears, I have a mahogany mantelpiece over the fireplace at home, 3 inches thick, 8 foot long, 8 inches deep. It must be 80 years old. Eyeing it up to make a guitar from when we do some renovations. Absolutely. Some luthiers are building guitars out of historic bits. We will come to that. Thank you, Sean. Yes, very kind of you. Please do give me a thumbs up. Very kind, Sean. Cheers, man. Yeah, definitely. Now, building stuff out of old recycled things. Now, I've probably told you a few times about one of the guitar bodies I built on a guitar I called Bastard. And the reason it was called Bastard is because it was made out of so many different bits of wood. Now, that was a piece of bar from the pub that I played in, and they were having some renovations done. And I asked if I could have this wonderful, I think it was mahogany, but I'm not absolutely sure. But there is absolutely a point in fact of what I think we should be doing, which is to look for alternative sources of wood. I love that initiative that I saw and mentioned in Friday's video of the people that are sort of collaborating in the north of LA, I think it is, with the tree fellas that have to remove old and damaged trees for whatever reason, and actually harvesting that kind of wood is a much better, a much more sustainable way to do stuff. So why not look at that? Hey, definitely. Excuse me. Hugh Bam Mozzie says torrefication makes them exceptionally brittle too, which isn't necessarily good. Yeah, that could be a bit of a problem. XMG, always do, Mike. We're your acolytes. Bless you, brother. Flathead 59 says, peace, brother. Just discovered you. Well, a very, very warm welcome to you, Flathead 59. It's lovely to have new folks in, and you're going to really enjoy this community because they are a friendly and really quite smart bunch. They know their stuff. So you're going to have fun here, man. CJ says, CGS, if it works for Brian May, it can work for everyone. And that was something else that somebody put in the comments on Friday's video. And absolutely. Sorry you're nursing a hangover, Fret Hustler. Hope you're feeling better soon. So, yeah. we need to look at alternatives, because longer term we have to move to something a little bit more sustainable. Otherwise, we're not going to have any wood for guitars. So, and we've got to look at other industries as well. We've got to look at responsibly buying our furniture. Yeah, we want stuff to last, but yes, we also want to see all industries moving over to sustainable materials. We've got to do it. Otherwise, we're going to be in serious trouble pretty soon. Dave Lewis, a good friend of mine's father, bought 4 levels of oak staircases and wall panels from my old school before it was knocked down. Built a really expensive closed private housing estate in 1967. Wow. Terry Tickler, plywood works great. Why not? Why not, indeed? In fact, a lot of the older, I think they were K guitars, were plywood. Didn't sound too bad at all. Okay, I also have a little treat for you, but I'm not sure it's going to work. I think it might, but let's. I was recording. We're moving off that subject now because we're getting towards the end of the stream. I've nearly done an hour, which astounds me. But I was making a video the other day for my patrons, and I was showing them the process I go through to record a track. And I was doing a track with my my Danelectro 12-string. See, I told you this is definitely been out in the sun too long today, and I forgot to put the audio on the camera, so I ended up with this whole video we're going through it, and I will do it again for my patrons, I promise you guys, because I thought it'd be interesting for you to see just how quickly I record these things down. But I was going to use it for one of my Thursday morning videos, but I thought, no, do you know what? I'll use the one that I put together for the patrons, and I will show you guys this one tonight. So this is a little piece that I recorded, and this is the only time you're going to get to hear it. So I'm going to play you this, and then we'll wind up with a few last comments, and then let me know what you guys think. Here we go. Let's see if you like this. Hopefully it'll work. Oh, man. I'm so sorry. We'll try starting that again. Oh, hello. Oh, no. I've really messed it up. Hang on. Let's get this right. Here we go. Let's try this. No. Oh, no. How embarrassing. Right. I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to add it again, and see if I can play it for you. I'm so sorry. As I said, tonight I am literally flying without a safety net. So let's try this again. I've called it Pat on the Back, and it's a little tune that I was demoing for my patrons. Now, keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully this... No, device is having trouble sharing your video. I know what I can do. I know exactly what I can do. Let's do it this way. Whoa. Okay. I'm very sorry about this, but we will get this to play, and I'll do it this way. Here we go. So there you are. That's going to be the one and only time we'll play that, guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. I really do hope. Oh, sorry, I'm bashing everything around tonight and getting in a right muck and fuddle. But hey, I really hope you've enjoyed the stream. I hope you've enjoyed the subject matter, even though it's a bit of a heavy one. And those little green bugs, they can do one as far as I'm concerned. And hopefully we can look for alternatives that will just play it live. Thanks for that, Dave. Yeah, I don't think I can play all those parts live, buddy. Tony Smith says it rhymes in Meridian. Excellent. Sean Hockey saying CGS very cool. And usually I'm not fond of white guitars, but that was nice. Thanks, great Vanzini. Death by Pile Driver. Hey, Mike, just had a birthday on Friday. 2 new Squires. Well, a very, very happy birthday to you, brother, and a very happy new Squires to you as well. Okay, Strat and the telly, love it. CGS, let your daughter sing to it. She can't wait to appear on the channel again, guys, and I will have her real soon. So we're getting on to 26 past, and just going to read a couple more comments and then we'll call it a day for this week. Thanks for bearing with me while I was flying live without a net. As I say, I lent out the 8M tonight, so this was the only way I could do it. And I didn't want to let you guys down. I'm not great with StreamYard, but I think we got away with it just about. So last few comments. Bam Mozzie says, in fact, some places do operate that way. Koa in Hawaii is exceptionally well managed. They only sell woods that they don't need to outsiders. They only take what can be sustained. That's the whole point. We have to take what can be sustained. And we also have to listen to the scientists when it comes to sustainability. And I think there's too many industries that are not listening to the science. Grumpy Mike says, CGS, have a great week. And you, my friend. Let me see. Any other CGSs? Steve from Boston plays his guitars live. He does. He's a much better player than I am, Dave. He is a wonderful guy. And I hope you guys enjoyed this stream I did with him on Tuesday. It was so good to have him on. He dropped into this at the last minute last week, around this sort of time when we only had a few minutes left and I couldn't bring him in. So it was lovely that we organized that. Nicholas, you have a great spring evening as well. Yosemite, Yeti Matzi Nightcat, you have a good one. Paul King says, CGS, as good as it could be. Great show as always. Well, thank you, my friend. I really appreciate that. And XMG12 saying, Mike, cheers. Great crack tonight. Stay safe. That's the Irish for crack. Excellent. Well, guys, as always, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. Don't forget, Ben's. Oh, you've got Film at Night on tonight. Excellent. So Ben's got Film at Night on at 8 p.m. Eastern. Walid, take care, brother. Thank you, Dale and Tall Thing Kev. I hope you've all had fun tonight. And thank you as well, Tony Smith. You guys all take good care, and I will be back really soon. So, as always, you take good care.